Rick Guinotte, an experienced optometric professional, has been entrenched in the field since 1989, holding various roles ranging from technician to territory director. With a rich background overseeing 18 practices and managing over 120 employees, Rick transitioned to an advisory role in 2009 and founded Acquios Advisors in 2015. He's been instrumental in assisting optometric practices in achieving growth, enhancing efficiencies, fostering team dynamics, and setting strategic goals. Rick's expertise extends to all phases of a practitioner's career, from launching new practices to exceeding revenue targets, adding associates, and devising exit strategies.
Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Optometric Industry Insights. Rick Guinotte, CEO of Acquios Alliance and Advisors here, just to spend a little time and share some thoughts of some of the things that have happened over the past weeks here. There's a lot of changing things happening in our industry and things that are evolving that are exciting. Some people might think it's scary. I personally think it's intriguing, and I think it's and it makes me feel very optimistic about the future of optometry. And as many of you know, I have a daughter who's an optometrist, so that always gives me a little bit more motivation, we'll say, to make sure that I'm looking out for the best interest of private practices and practitioners out there for today, tomorrow, and for years to come. So one of the things that really came up over the past, about a month or a little over a month ago now, was, Vision Expo took place. Vision Expo East, the last episode of that, or last event, took place in New York City, and it's now moving down to Florida. And that got a lot of vendors talking, and a lot of vendors wondering, what's going to happen, where are we going to do? Is it going to be the same show in Florida as it was up in New York? It's never going to be the same. It's a different location, a different state. Do I think it's going to open avenues for other people or other organizations to be able to offer things? I think yes, is the answer there. But I also think many of the trade shows have become quite a challenge for vendors to participate in and be able to get the return on their investments. And it's scary, it's sad to see that happening, because ultimately it's the vendors that are paying for the CE that's taking place at the state events and these regional meetings events. And I think it's important that vendors are finding ways to be able to still get in front of their audience, their customers, and relate to them, but also be able to make back the money that they're investing in those shows and all. And as consolidation occurs across our industry, we see people, more and more vendors, or certain brands, I should say, falling under some umbrellas more so than others. But there's still a great deal of independents out there that are looking to be great for you. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today as we go through this. But I'm also going to go through, how to prove some of your efficiencies in your office, because I think right now, as we look at numbers, now that we're 4 months in, a third of the way through 2024 already. It's just crazy how fast the year is going. But payroll is up payroll dollars, I should say, is up across the country, across the board, across the country in all offices. There's no changing that. That's not going to change at all. And just make sure that you're understanding. We need to make sure the staff is working efficiently for you, with you, and staff members. Those of you that are listening to this too, that you figure out how to work and be able to be as effective as you can be, get the work done in a timely manner, if that means managing your time differently and so on. So I'm going to challenge a little bit on that as well. But I want to go back to the trade show piece and reminding people that when you're at these events, that you need to be looking at how you can, who's paying for that lunch you had there. And it is the vendors. And when we did our Living Your Mission event just a week ago in Kansas City, it was phenomenal. And we had a few vendors there, and they did well for themselves. And the time before we've done it, where they're included in our presentation, they get to know people at the offices that are attending. So I think trade shows are definitely evolving. In fact, there's one that's going to be taking place June 13th and June 14th. Just had another conversation with Charlene with Eyewear Artwork, and it's going to take place on June 13th. Got some little bit of tongue-tied there, but that's okay. It's going to be a very fun event. We're going to be there. There's quite a few other vendors that I know will be there. Just to name a few that are part of the Acquios Alliance is there's OVO, Pacific Artisans Lab is planning to be there. Weave is going to be there, and a few other frame vendors that I'm talking to that will be joining us as well. So we look forward to having multiple and seeing more vendors there. There's quite the lineup of vendors already listed and signed up for it. In fact, we're going to be doing some exciting things to help get people there to keep the costs down so you're not having to pay a lot to get there. Keep an eye open for emails in your inbox or on social media for us to be able to help promote and help you get to the Denver event against June 13th and 14th. But what's unique about this is it's a lot of independents, a lot of people there looking to help provide a great product and a great service for you and be able for you and your patients. But also there's going to be great CE there. They've got great speakers coming in. So you COPA-approved speakers, so doctors, you're going to be able to get your events, but make sure you're walking the hallways at the event so you're able to meet the vendors that are going to be there. I'll be there. Tim Merrigan will be there as well to greet you at the door. Again, we're one of the major sponsors at the event, so we're looking forward to seeing that. Bring your team. Look for new products that are available. We hope to see some other vendors, like I said, from the Acquios Alliance signing up for that as well to participate and really be able to show people all we can be. And if you don't know about Pacific Artisans Lab, it's a pretty cool lab with some very unique structure to it. Brandon is a great guy, CEO and president of Pacific Artisans Lab. Just to give him a nice little plug, they have their main lab right now is out in Portland, Oregon. They have another lab in Denver, and then they're going to be opening another lab in Chicago. They do great work. I've got multiple clients using them. Their service is good, their product is good, their pricing is great, and again, they have some very cool things that they're going to be happening with their lab to really partner with private practices specifically, and the products they carry, and they're also in network with many vision plans. So I'm going to give a little bit of time there to Brandon and his team out there in Oregon. But again, look at these events. You're going to see more independent shows popping up. They might not be as big as the expos, but I'll tell you, they're going to bring a lot of value to you and your team. So be looking out for those. We're going to help to market those because, as everybody knows, Acquios Advisors was founded on the basis of helping private practitioners be successful. We have our Thrive with Confidence podcast to help people learn more. We have our newsletters that go out regularly. We really are here to help people and help you. So look for those so you can help build your brand. And let's talk about your brand. Your practice is your brand, whether you're Lifetime Eye Care, or Blink Eye Care, Precision Eye Group, or other branded practice in your market. You need to take a look at your office and challenge yourself and remind yourself of what you got into this practice for when you bought the practice, whether you acquired it, whether you opened the practice brand new, or you became a partner at the practice that you're currently in. Look at your practice, know what your brand is. Does your staff know your brand? Do they know the history of your office? Do they know why you became an optometrist? I think it's important that people look at their core values. What motivated them to do what motivated you to be what you are, what you want to be, how you want to be. What are your brand standards? What do you expect? What do you want people to know about your practice when they walk in the door? Is it professionalism? How's your staff dressed? Is it, what are the aesthetics of the office? I will say this, over the past years, as more and more female professionals are owning their own practices, the aesthetics of the offices look a little bit better than that. Doctor, no offense to those of you out there, but you know who I'm talking about. When you opened your office in the late 70s, early 80s, and the wallpaper, and it might still be that same wallpaper there today, and it's peeling, but it functions, it's okay, who cares? Well, the patients do. So looking at your practice, from outside eyes looking in, make sure you're looking and making at your practice, making sure your office reflects you and your core values, your mission statement with your team, the whole 9 yards. Does your team know what your core values are? What the culture, are they living the culture that you want? Are you able to get people where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be through training and development? Do you have leadership in your office that you need, that needs to be enhanced? How did that manager learn? Did they just get put in the position because they're there? There are resources out there to help you. Look up Executive Management Program by Acquios Advisors. It's a 6-month program that's wonderful. The feedback we get from doctors and managers that have attended now our 3rd class. We just graduated our 2nd class. We have our 3rd class currently in process. We just had our graduation this past Friday, and the comments that some of the doctors shared was phenomenal. It was some of the best investment one doctor made. She's out of Kansas. It's on social media. I'm not going to say her name, but if you look it up on our Facebook page, you'll see Dr. Dawn. I'll leave it at that, and what her comment was. And she's a great client of ours. Been working with her for a while. But you need to look at how you can invest in your manager so that down the road, that manager is able to make sure your staff can do everything they can possible for your patients. And again, I go back to, we need to work efficiently. You need leadership in your office. In today's world, when we're paying the amount of money we are per hour to be able to have the right employees in place and the quality people you want in place to be able to take care of your patients, we need to make sure they're working right and you're getting a great return on your investment. But remember, you also need to invest in them to make sure that they can do as you want. You need to have eyes on your office. If you've got multiple locations, you can't have one manager over 4 or 5 offices. And yes, I see that from time to time in offices. There's one in the northern state, there's one in the southern state right now that I'm working with, that I'm actually going to be doing an on-site visit with one of them in the next week and a half. And part of the conversation at that office is going to be, or those offices, is going to be, how do we enhance, how do we find people we can develop from within to lead the offices that we don't, because the manager can't be in all locations at one time. If we could figure out how to clone people like we can clone meat these days out in the labs in California, great. As long as it can function right and make the office healthy and be strong for us all, that's great. But if it's only going to be a copy of the copy of the copy, we don't want it. We need to make sure we're developing people to live your culture, live your mission, and make sure they know how to help your patients grow. And is your manager empowered? Is your manager empowered? I think that is a key word when it comes to management. And many times in offices, there are people that have managers in place, but they really aren't empowered to make all the decisions they can. So you doctors might be paying more money to somebody than, to do what they should be doing, but you're not allowing them or giving them the freedom and to be able to make the hard decisions to take off your back. And because you doctors are so busy in your offices with the medical patients, with your comprehensive eye health evaluations, contact lens, dry eye evaluations, and dry eye treatments, along with myopia management, vision therapy, everything that's encompassed now in the optometric profession, you're busy, and you need to have that person in your office that's going to help lead the team, have eyes on the team, make sure the team is doing what they're supposed to be doing so that you're running a great ship and your ship is reflective of what you're looking for. The brands that you have represented in your optical should represent that of your practice as well. If you want to be an independent practice, you need to look like an independent practice. If you want to look like a franchise, then look like a franchise. There's nothing wrong with that, but make sure your business model matches your vision of what your brand is supposed to be. Keep making sure the patient care never suffers. You need to make sure that the manager that's leading the practice and leading your team understands the value of patient care. Because if there's one thing out there that makes your practice unique, it's you, the doctor, you, your staff, and the level of patient care that you deliver to your patients. That will never change. Even though things are evolving, we have things like AI coming into play. Be careful of AI. It wasn't that long ago I wrote an article, and I'll get it posted on my LinkedIn. It has to do with easier is not always better. But I'll get that article posted I'll have it posted on my LinkedIn for people to look at and read. And I refer to how how we always look for easy ways out and wondering, okay, for example, I'll use labs. Okay, we'll use this lab because it takes this vision plan, this vision plan, this vision plan, that vision plan, and that. And that's what we use. We were on all those, so now it's only one lab instead of, even though this lab can do a better job on a special type of lens, I don't do what's best for my patient because it's not easy enough. If you have a patient with a -8 or stronger lens, would it not be best to find the lab that can do the best work for that order and is going to take the time to do it right, instead of because it's easier, I'm going to order it from here? That's a chain mentality. That's a chain mentality, and we shouldn't be falling into that. As independent practices, you need to make sure you stay independent and you dabble in a little of everything to be what's best for your patients, because what's best for your patients can be best for your practice. So easier is not always better. So what started me on this is I brought up those 2 letters, AI, artificial intelligence. Is my promise to you, you will never see anybody from Acquios Advisors send out something to a client that it was AI generated. I made it very clear to my team about 2 months ago. If you ever do it and I find out about it, you will be terminated. And I said it just that bluntly, because your people hire us for our personality. They hire us for what our ideas, not what AI generates and what it's learning from other people, because it's going to tell people things that aren't right. It's going to tell people, it's going to share information that's not correct. And if you don't do your own homework and your own research, you're going to have egg on your face with your patients, with your team members, and so on. So be careful of AI. Yes, it's here, it's not going anywhere, but be careful of losing your personal touch of what is in your practice and what is right for your practice. Just because it's easier does not make it better. Make sure you're always managing and investing in your practice. And if there's one investment that always needs to be made, it's investing in your staff members. That is your most valuable asset. Many people think it's an IPL. Many people will think my biggest asset is my OCT, my Optos, other instruments of some sort. That's an instrument. It's a one-time fee. It is what it is. Your staff is always evolving and growing. Your staff is evolving and growing, and it's making your office better, and it's making you better. It's making your life easier. It's making things more efficient. Invest in your staff. Take them to some of these trade shows that are going to teach them, or events that will teach them how to be better for themselves, better for your practice. And when you do that, you're going to keep your staff for a longer period of time and improve retention. That is key in this world. And I think we all ran into a really tough time during 2020, 21, and I'll even say early 23 in some areas, AKA the Northwest, Northeast, where people had a difficult time with staff retention or even getting good quality staff. I think we're past that. We're starting to see people coming back into the workforce that want to work and want to make a difference for you and your team and your practice and your patients. So now invest in those people, keep them for years to come. Keep that core group that's going to see you through to retirement, and make sure you're able to do everything you can. And with that, I want to thank you for your time today. Please feel free to comment your thoughts and shares at the bottom, down in the comments section here on YouTube. We look forward to doing this more, but I look forward to seeing you guys in June at the event on June 13th and 14th, the Eyewear Artwalk. Look forward to seeing you there. Take care.